everyone. It's such a nice place and good vibe here, and really excited to see so many professionals. I think if we, all of us, would combine our knowledge, at least for Baltic states, we definitely would complete the financial crime. I'm pretty sure. So today, I'm representing the technology stack, and my colleague explained about blockchain capabilities, and we heard a lot of technology impact. Artificial intelligence is another technology, and it sounds like a magic. Even it's not a new one. It's been for ages already, from ancient year, and materialized in 1940s and 1950s when computer appeared. But basically, it has a lot of still uncertainty. And today I will try to tackle this idea from management point of view. Does it make sense for me, being a bank manager, to analyze basically this kind of technology, understanding the complexity, the rules, everything I have to implement and supervise? And is there a business case applying this technology? And if so, what I should do next? The next steps, implementing this technology to my organization, challenges awaiting, and possible implementation cases of that technology. So just to recap of what we've heard already, I would like to start from overview of existing market. It's a business. Crime, financial crime is a business. It was explained, very well defined. So United Nations Office of Drugs and Crimes estimates the business value up to $2 trillion. So it's a huge business. And according to Boston Consulting Group, the banks paid more than 321 billion in fines since last financial crisis. And it's predicted that it's going to top up by 400 in 2020. So the banks accordingly spent huge amounts of 8 billion last year to prevent money laundering and terrorist financing, and it's also increasing each year. Government institutions, accordingly, they continue revising rules. We saw fourth, fifth directive, other directive coming to place, and this also actually increased a lot of complexity for financial organizations. And despite the efforts, all of us, regulators, financial institutions, technology companies, we see that the problem still is huge. 2 billion money laundering. So the question is, why? Why all of us put so many efforts and still have such big problems and get so big fines? So it's quite a complex problem, and there is no single answer to that problem. But according to analysts in the market, we need to identify that the total volume of transactions is growing. The banking is being more digitalized. The new payment means come to a field like blockchain payments, instant payments, etc. This increased dramatically the volumes of transactions. So legacy or old view to manual review of compliance process is not effective anymore. We need changes. And exception-based rules, they generate too many false positives. Again, according to analysts, it's up to 95%. And it basically increased burden for compliance officers to spend 95% of their time for false positives. And as a result, EML became more like operational utility rather oversight function in the bank, which was before with transactional banking, before internet came to place. So I think, and inconsistent standards. Basically, we saw a lot of different laws coming to place, and each regulator institution provides his own view about risk approach, about regulation in different countries. So we have all big complexity, and we have increasing volumes, and we have manual process. It's clear that the current approach is due for improvement. I'm in technology field, and basically we're the guys who have to help you to solve the problem. So we hear each day the compliance officer, bankers coming and saying, okay, we need to automate something. We need to do something. So we say, okay, please, could you provide the rules? What to automate? We're very simple technical guys. We need to implement this rule, so please give algorithm. And there is no one algorithm. There are no rules, and we need to study together with compliance officers and bankers all the words and try to imagine how to automate these processes. Unfortunately, everything is very disconnected. We have still a lot of legacy. At the same time, we have new technologies coming to place, and we have different providers providing different services, even for compliance officers. So we have disconnected world, and this disconnected world creates scary data. So basically, and for compliance, for analytics, we need a lot of data. We need a lot of data, and hopefully this data should be correct, and we need to have it in hands. Legacy systems and effective transaction monitoring system is another case where we saw that, okay, we don't perform correctly. Mostly rule-based system, checks certain factors, lack of data, so basically generates a lot of false positives. And yes, new products come to place, and again, we need to rework these systems. From the other side, the people are creative, especially on crime side. And while governments and institutions introduce new systems, laws to block the crime, we already saw from the movie about EMO history that crime, we're hiring the best lawyers, best accountants, and they go and they find another way how to go around the systems. And whichever system have rules can be and will be bypassed. And the good point, that's not only in financial sector, it's everywhere. Transportation, trade, telecommunication sector, so we're not alone. Here I would like to stop in this situation because we see it's quite complex and problematic one. I'm sure there are people in this hall who like chess and play chess. And probably you've heard about one event happened 2017, December 6th. On that day, the chess changed forever. And probably not the chess, but whole life of our humanity. So what happened on that day? Stockfish, it's well-known and consistently ranked as the first algorithm-based software for chess simulation who beaten the Kasparov and other grandmasters of chess, was beaten by another algorithm-based software, AlphaZero, with the result 28 victories, 72 draws, and 0 loss. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it took only 4 hours for AlphaZero to learn chess. So 4 hours to learn chess and beat the most powerful chess engine, which held all the knowledge of all chess masters. Sorry, humans, you had a good run. The champion of chess, the chess master, Grand Magnus Carlsen, explained in one single word: aliens. And it may look like an alien unless you understand how it works. And it's quite complex. Artificial intelligence, known from ages, it's myths, it's some very complex mathematician things. How for us simple humans to understand what does it mean? So in simple words, it's defined as technology that powers machine human knowledge, learning, reasoning, and self-correction. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's very wide scale. So I will try to focus more on machine learning, which is less complex. It's also developed quite long time ago in 1950s when IBM launched first computer. So machine learning is much more narrow thing, and its aim is to produce the result for very specific task, which I think has some power for application in financial sector. And when we talk about machine learning, we should understand that there are three groups of machine learning. It's supervised learning. It can be explained, train me, and I will know how to do it next time. Probably you heard about different robo-advisors, different fraud monitoring system, etc. That's exactly how it was quite widely. Unsupervised learning, that's more interesting one. I'm self-sufficient in learning. Means that give me the rules and I will learn myself how to apply these rules, how to generate the results. And reinforcement learning, that's the most funny one. And DeepMind, which created AlphaZero, this algorithm which beats the stockfish. The description is very interesting. My life, my rules. What's interesting in that previous game and between all these algorithms, that it's a categorization of mathematics, which can be applied for very specific fields in different areas. We know that supervised learning can be applied to automate the rules, and supervised learning probably to create the rules, and reinforcement learning, it's much more interesting because it plays out of the box. And AlphaZero proved it. So coming to machine learning and other industries, I think any cases, definitely yes. And there are many cases across very different industries. And everyone, you sitting here in the hall, use it on a daily basis, even if you don't notice. Transportation. Google Maps application, you have it? Yes. Uber, Tesla. Logistics, e-commerce, Booking.com, Amazon. Marketing, I'm sure you saw, maybe you should try this on YouTube or Netflix. So everywhere we have machine learning algorithms, suggesting learning from your experience, from your actions, and suggesting several steps to do. Oh, and one funny one, it's politics. All of you remember the scandal of Cambridge Analytica and US elections 2018. That's the good example. So are there any business cases for machine learning and artificial intelligence application in the financial sector? Yes, there is. But why it's so slow to adopt this? Why we see only a few cases? First point is related to regulators' approval. We saw how many acts, regulators, everything is in place, so we have explicitly explain everything how it's done, and how to explain explicitly black box engine of unsupervised learning. So the second factor, we still heavily use as legacy systems. These legacy systems are simply not capable. We need a clean data, we need a straightforward process, automation, and legacy systems simply not capable. Organization, we still focus on humans. And it was never on the agenda before. So nobody understands even what is artificial intelligence or machine learning, how we can put it to organization. And of course, difficult to validate. That could be the reasons, but how this artificial intelligence or machine learning can make impact on money laundering. There are cases, there are very particular cases related to analysis of massive amounts of transactional and client data. We saw how much data we should analyze according to risk, weights, analysis, and provide some holistic view of transactions. This is exactly the purpose of the algorithms, of big data algorithms, which can produce it in a second. Detect the patterns of behavior, analyze the intent of a client to do any of transactions, and even more complex when we discussed in the morning about beneficial relationships. So to automate the transaction analysis with intermediate relationships between different beneficiaries. Okay, so coming to task, I'm CEO of a fintech company or bank. Sounds interesting. So where to start? What should I do next? Well, you should start from your organization first. You have to put it to your strategy, to your agenda. You have to put on board some people who understands the matters, and you should give them mandate to act. How to do it in practical way? I think you can create the center of excellence of a group of people, and including the compliance specialists, including the data scientists and technology experts, who will exactly study the case by case, and they will put specific places where this is applicable at the best. Before even that, basically, and I saw it's a huge problem everywhere, you need holistic and complete view of compliance processes. Still, it's quite scattered, and it's very complex. For us, we're technical guys who are coming, please give us specification, give us processes to understand. Sorry to say, usually there is no process. There are only rules, there are instructions, certain things, behavior patterns, but no process in place, covering everything. So you need to put all this process in place before starting digging specific problems and deciding how to do it. Process automation. We still rely a lot on manual process. Please rely on automation. And automating process gives you several advantages. First, reduce burden for your compliance officers. Secondly, it gives exactly a lot of good data, which further can be used for analysis. Yes, and data quality topics is also very, very important. Then you can decide for specific problems, you can pick specific solutions for machine learning or rule-based approach or robotization. And don't forget to put measure. If you don't measure, you don't understand if you are doing well. So, okay, understand the approach, understand how to deal with that. I'm looking for a team. So, but is there any practical example I can just simply start with? Yes, there are. Few of them, that's definitely not all of them, very simple cases of machine learning application. We can tackle the problem of false positives. We understand it generates 95% of waste time for compliance officers, so we dig with them. Alert prioritization. You can take immediate action on most important ones and postpone for the later less important ones. Alert enrichment, data enrichment with different data sources to have holistic view of the case. Alert hibernation, auto-closure is opposite to prioritization, so you can postpone or even automatically close the alerts if you see that on the same part and other alerts were closed. All these three topics are related to supervised learning. So you put the rules and it automates. And the last one, but not the least, anomalies. Anomalies is already the group of unsupervised learning, where basically you have to look for anomalies which were not detected by soft or hard rules. This can give you really interesting insights, which basically you can then standardize, put to your risk assessment strategies and show to regulator. Of course, there are different challenges doing that. So first of all, you have to talk with regulator. You need to have open discussion with regulator, and you need to show each and every strategy you want to do with that. It's a very sensitive case. Then, basically, you need a lot of data available. if you don't have data, therefore I stress for process automation, if you have no data or data is scattered, basically, it's simply not possible. You need to decide to do it in-house on your legacy system or outsource to what functions. And it's, yeah, we already discussed about holistic view and management acceptance, organizational culture. I think all of us here should act as a community rather than individuals executing this mission. And we should understand that the data is a blood for any algorithm. We need to have a lot of data. The problem we have here in the Baltics is quite a small market. And if each institution, every institution worked separately with its own set of data, means that you have very limited data, we have very limited capabilities for analysis and etc. So cooperation between financial institutions, sharing the knowledge, and I saw a lot of good practice already here with Danske Bank sharing knowledge and having EMO breakfast and conferences. Cooperation between financial institutions and technology companies is also very important because you need a mix of skills of technology and compliance to create really good solutions for that. And data. So for data, basically, there is an option to have regulatory sandbox as a framework which can be used to access the data, share the data between the players. It can be anonymized to a certain extent and can be used to improve algorithms and machine learning. I believe machine learning has a lot of potential and definitely can help a lot to do here, but it's not a panacea. You cannot rely on technology. It will not solve all your problems, despite its blockchain or machine learning or whichever algorithm. But it can help banks to make a smarter decision, that's for sure, and make it more efficient. And the question is not wherever you need it. The question is when you will start using it and how. I'm pretty sure. And I will not be surprised if big tech companies, which already stepped into financial sector like Google, Apple, and other Facebook, will also step into this field. Question is, will you be ready for this? Thank you very much.